shortly. We're just... Okay, good afternoon. We're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Sherry Setfin, and I'm the magistrate for Seminole County. The way the process works is the county goes first. It provides all of its evidence, witnesses, any testimony that it has. At the time that the county goes, if you would like to cross-examine witnesses, you certainly can, but you will not be able to present any evidence until it's your turn. Once the county has closed its case, it will be then your opportunity to provide any witnesses or evidence that you have, subject to the cross-examination of the county as well. Once all cases have been presented, I will make a decision here today. If there is a violation found, you will give an amount of time to correct. If you do not come into compliance by that time and you're here for a first-time violation, you stand to have a penalty of up to $250 a day for a first-time violation and up to $500 a day for a repeat violation. So if you have the agenda, please bear with us. We don't usually go in the order of the agenda. We've got our own method to our madness up here. If you have signed in, though, I promise you, you will be called, and even if you haven't signed in, you're going to be called if you're on the agenda. So I appreciate you and your patience. The first item that I'm going to consider is the consent agenda. I'm going to approve the consent agenda as provided on case number 2478 CESM, 2502 CESM, and 2505 CESM. And then the first case that we are going to hear today is 2511 CESM, Daniel Bula Velasquez and Letty Gutierrez Ospinina. Okay. Real quick, let me swear in any county witnesses who will be providing testimony. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. And I'll go ahead and swear you in. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to translate from English to Spanish and Spanish to English to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
Okay, now let's translate her swearing in. Do you solemnly swear or affirm
Yeah, I do.
the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Ruth Goldstein, Program Coordinator for Building Division. Case 25-11 CESM is for the property located at 202 Jasmine Lane in Longwood, which is owned by Daniel A. Bula Velasquez and Lady E. Gutierrez Ospina. The violation charged is Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. The description of the violation is installation of 3 gates, awning with pergola underneath, swimming pool, plumbing and electric on accessory structure behind pool in the drainage easement, a drainage pipe in the rear yard, and demolition of 2 sheds without the required permits. Next slide. There you go. You got it. On March 13th, 2025, an order was issued giving the respondent a compliance date of June 11th, 2025, with a meeting scheduled on June 12th, 2025. This is a copy of the case summary since the initial hearing.
And Ruth, if you'll just go a little bit more slowly so that she can translate.
Sure.
Oh, thank you.
This is the case summary since the initial hearing. The administrative cost to process this case for the clerk totals $88.91. The administrative cost to process this case for the inspector totals $1,192.86. The total administrative cost to process this case for both the clerk and the inspector is $1,281.77. The recommendation is that the special magistrate issue an order constituting a lien retroactively to June 11th, 2025 at $250 per day, continuing to accrue until compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Okay, can I get some testimony regarding the fact that the violation is still exists on the property?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm Brent Griffin, Seminole County Building Inspector. Yes, the violations all are still on the property.
Okay, and what, the fact that have the permits been pulled, attempted? Have you had any conversations with them at all?
The slide on the screen right here shows the current permit history for this parcel. There are no permits issued regarding the violations that have been cited. They do have applications in process, but they have not yet been issued.
And so this slide doesn't show the applications that are in process? I thought sometimes we show in process when
Is
they're...
this a compliance case or first time? Oh,
No,
it's
this is a compliance case.
Okay.
Case.
That's the most recent photo that we have showing the pergola, but he's been out since.
So I was out there actually yesterday, and I met with the homeowner. The fence, the pergola with the roof, and all the other violations in the back still exist. And like I said, we have no permits other than the ones that are still in pending status.
Okay, so I don't know what the county's shorthand codes are, so I need you to tell me, are there applications even that they, since our last hearing, have they done anything?
There's permit application 25-8213, which, let me scroll back to that screen here. It's the very first one for a pergola. This one where it says pergola at the very top, that is for a 12 by 33 pergola that was installed at the back patio of the main structure. That is part of the violation. There is an awning that is on top of that pergola that is also part of the violation, but there is a section of pergola underneath, which does require a building permit.
And the PC means that it's...
PC means plan check. They have applied for the permit. However, it's fallen stagnant due to required corrections that were submitted to the applicant June 2nd, 2025. They did attempt to address the demolition of 2 sheds in the pergola with electric that was previously on the violation. However, that permit has fallen into an expired status. So it now needs to be renewed, and the inspections need to be scheduled in order for that to be pulled from the violation to be considered in compliance. Same thing goes for the pool permit. Oh, sorry, I forgot.
Todo ya expiró, entonces ya no siguieron con su permiso. Sí, pero no acabó con su permiso, entonces se expiró. Entonces no acabaron de cerrar su permiso. De
Okay,
destruir los sheds.
So are you answering questions that she's posing, or are you...
I'm translating.
Okay, so just translate. So
Yep.
if you have questions, save those questions for when it's your turn. Okay. And then the sheds, are those are not current violations. There are 2 sheds without permits. Are those the 2 sheds, shed voided, shed to be voided?
No, the 2 sheds that were originally part of the violation, as well as a separate pergola, have been removed from the property. Permits were required to remove the 2 sheds because there was electrical and other things in the structure, so they had to obtain a demolition permit to remove those 2 sheds. That permit has now expired. It requires renewal and inspection, which is why those items are back on the violation. The same concept goes for the pool permit. They obtained a permit for the pool, however, it has now expired without inspection and requires renewal and inspection.
But that's why
Los
it's
sheds se expiran.
on this violation?
Correct.
Not,
Otra
okay,
vez en la
okay.
aprobación, porque no acabaron de sacar su permiso del demolition. Y también la piscina también expiró también.
Okay, so is that all the county has related to the permits that have not been received?
Correct. We have printouts of the correction comments that have been submitted to the contractor or owner. I'm not sure who actually applied for the permit. If you need those, we have those here.
Okay, okay.
Sí, ellos tienen sus copias.
You want to tell her what Ruth just said about the comments?
Sí, entonces ella tiene los papeles de los comentos que yo no sé si usted o su contractor tiene sobre sus comentos de sus permisos. Okay.
Okay, it's her turn if she'd like to provide testimony.
Ok, entonces sí, ahorita.
¿Pueden explicar?
Sí.
¿Podemos explicar? Bueno. Buenas tardes. Good afternoon. Lo que quiero dar a entender es que no entiendo por qué nuevamente aquí me están pidiendo unos permisos por haber hecho la demolición de los sheds cuando en la audiencia pasada no me aclararon eso. Esos permisos los saqué ya y ya los sheds y la pérgola se quitaron.
So she's not understanding why the violation continues with the demolition of what she needed to demolish, but she said she wasn't explained clearly on why she needed to finish the permit for the demolish.
Nunca me lo dijeron. En la oficina no me lo han dicho, que tenía que volverlos a sacar.
She didn't know that she had to redo the permit for the demolition.
Nadie me lo ha dicho.
Nobody told her.
When you met with her on site, was there a translator?
No, I actually went out, she gave me access to the rear yard, and she just stayed inside, so I just went to go get pictures for the violations that we had.
Okay.
Okay. Entonces ella preguntó a él si hay alguien que explicó a usted, pero usted dijo, él dijo que solo usted le dio permiso para ir atrás de su propiedad para tomar las fotos.
Oh, sí.
Okay. Yep.
En cuanto a la pérgola existente en mi casa existe desde que compré mi casa.
She's talking about how the pergola existed when she bought her
En la
home.
audiencia anterior explicamos que lo único que hicimos fue cambiar un pedazo de madera.
In the previous meeting, she explained that they just replaced one piece of the wood on the pergola.
Llevo 4 semanas radicando este plano por el cambio de madera que hice
So,
y dicen que no es suficiente. No sé qué más quieren decir, la pérgola ha existido toda la vida.
Yes.
Yo no, lo único que hice fue corregir un pedazo de madera.
yep, so she said she worked 4 weeks on trying to get the site plan correct for the permit, but that the pergola existed on the property.
Okay, so please let her know that I recall the last hearing, and I recall telling her at the last hearing that it doesn't matter whether she bought the property with the pergola there.
Sí, entonces en la última reunión, cuando usted vino aquí,
Sí.
no importa que ya existió la pergola
Exacto.
en la propiedad.
Pero solicité el permiso y no me han dado el permiso porque dicen que los planos no están completos y no sé qué más hacerle a los planos.
So she said she submitted for the permit, but they weren't sufficient for the permit, and that that's why it hasn't been given.
Eso. El mismo día de la audiencia anterior solicité el permiso, que aquí está, para la fence y para la electricidad de la fence y para todo lo de la fence. Me dijeron que no podía renovar la piscina hasta que el caso del permiso de la fence se cerrara. Por eso no
So-
he podido renovar la piscina.
So for the fence, she said the same day of the last meeting that she attended, she went and got the permit for the fence, applied for the permit, and electrical as well with the fence, and that she wasn't allowed to renew the pool permit until the fence was issued. The fence permit was issued.
El inspector ha ido 7 veces a mi casa.
So 7 times
He
the
pagado los
inspector has
fees
visited.
y siempre me dicen que tengo que cambiar algo de la fence. Lo cambio, pero aún así no me aprueban la fence.
And every time that she's told that she needs to change something, it has been changed, and it still has not been, she has issued the permit.
La fence de mi casa nunca la he movido, nunca. Es la misma fence, lo único que se cambió también fue la madera, que fue lo que se indicó en la audiencia pasada.
So she's never moved the fence. The only thing they've ever done is replace pieces of it.
Aquí está el plano de la fence también.
Again, but if it existed prior to, it doesn't matter. She still is required to have a permit for it. If she changes out pieces of it, regardless, she still is required to have a permit.
So no importa que exista antes, si
Okay.
existe.
También, pero igual también pedí los permisos y anexé los planos. Entonces no sé qué más hacer. Porque la piscina no la hemos renovado porque no me han dado los permisos de la fence. Pero entonces todavía sigo haciendo correcciones y correcciones. No hemos dejado.
So she says that they've been doing the changes to the permits, to the plans, and she hasn't done anything else to the pool because they have been continuing the other permits first.
Okay,
So the reason why the permit was never issued is because there's still building and zoning issues, which there's notes that we have that they haven't taken care of. So that's why the permit hasn't been issued.
Todavía cosas con el departamento de building y planning, que todavía hay cosas que no han correctado con su permiso todavía. Y por eso,
¿Pero cuáles son?
she's asking what issues from.
okay, so this isn't the forum for us to tell you what the issues are.
Entonces, aquí no vamos a decir con las correcciones.
Is she doing this herself, or does she have a contractor?
¿Usted está haciendo o usted tiene contrato?
Lo estamos haciendo.
They're doing it
con
themselves.
Okay, when she comes into the building department to work through this, is there a translator there that's helping through this process?
Cuando alguien viene, cuando ustedes van al departamento de building o
I'm not sure who she's spoken to in the planning division. Well, I do know which planner she has spoken to in the past, but I'm not sure who the translator was or if one was provided or if it was her, her husband, or I don't know.
Okay, but do we have a translator in the planning department if someone comes in that, so
Yes.
you would be there to
Yes.
help the translation?
Yep.
Okay, so if there wasn't a language barrier on the understanding, because I think that's what's happening, she's not understanding fully what the requirements are. So if that gap were to be bridged, how long do you think it would take her to get these permits?
entonces ella está preguntando
Based on the comments that have been given?
Variance.
para correctar todo si, por ejemplo, si yo estoy para transferir o yo no sé el departamento de building.
They have site plan issues regarding equipment and structures in an easement. So I'm not sure if that's going to require an additional site plan review or possibly a variance or special exception. If that's needed, she'd need at least 90 days.
Okay.
If that's part of what would be required for the building permit without issues extenuating to planning, you could get a permit within 60 days. But some applications haven't even been submitted for some of these items yet.
And can she submit those applications without the planning department issues being corrected?
I would need someone from planning to answer that question.
El departamento de planning es lo que ellos están discutiendo ahorita. que necesitamos
Dal Marie, do I need to swear you in?
Yeah,
Yep.
I need to.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Dagmar Isagara, Deputy Director, Development Services. She can, it seems that that the survey is missing some information that is required for the fence. Now that I'm here, I can help translate and explain the process to her. So, but it seems that without a new survey and highlighting the area where the fence is going, the issue of the fence can be resolved. Now, the pool, that's a separate issue. It seems that the survey is showing structures that they're not supposed to be in the location. But that's it's all part of the violation. So that's something that we can work through. But the biggest issue is that the survey is not showing an easement, and it seems that some of the structure is in that easement. But that is something that I can walk her through.
Okay, but that means getting a survey from a third party.
Correct. Or we may help her try getting the copy from the plat.
Okay.
Sí. Sí. Usted no te hace survey, usted tiene que tener una surveyor.
Okay, so if she had a survey today, in a perfect world, how long would this take?
The review process, how long, I'm not sure how long the review process, but at least after submittal is 15 days. 15 days.
Okay, so needing, though, a survey might be what the holdup is.
Yeah, what she provided here is not a survey. This is just
Okay.
a sketch.
Okay, and she needs an actual survey from a
She needs an
surveyor.
actual survey. It's showing all of the structures in the property
Sí,
and
eso no
a
es un
permit
survey.
for each one. This is just a sketch, what we
Okay.
have
Eso
here.
solo es
Okay.
un site plan. Lo que
So-
ayuda es un survey.
I gave her 3 months the first time.
Entonces ya te dio 3 meses la primera vez.
I'm willing to give her 3 months again because I understand that survey, getting a survey takes a long time.
Entonces para darte otros 3 meses porque el survey toma tiempo para sacar.
But I need her to actually go through the process and rely on professionals to help her get this accomplished.
Entonces ella necesita que usted encuentre los profesionales para acabar ese proceso.
Okay? So I will give you, I'll amend my prior order of March 13th, 2025, and I will change the compliance date to September 10th.
10 de septiembre para
But outside of a major issue, I'm not going to be willing to continue again.
afuera de algo que no puedes dejar, sí, ya no puede extender.
Okay? And then we'll have a compliance hearing on September 11th.
Okay.
11 de septiembre es el día de la reunión para... She wants to ask another question.
Okay.
Oh,
No, pero
Oh.
que lo sorry,
hablamos rato, sí. Never mind.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, one down.
Okay, the next case is 2545 CESM, Deborah Grice. Good afternoon. Will she be providing testimony? No. Okay.
Ruth Goldstein, Program Coordinator, Building Division. Case 25-45, CESM, is located at 824 Fern Drive in Longwood. Violation charged is Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. The description of violation is installation of concrete columns and walls with possible electric, entrance gate, and 2 walk gates without the required permits. The case summary is as follows. The notice to respondent was sent September 3rd, 2024. Initial inspection was September 3rd, 2024. And the compliance dates and extensions are shown on the screen, as well as the follow-up inspections from both an on-site visit as well as computer inspections. The results of these re-inspections are that the violations remain on the property. This is a screenshot from the Seminole County Property Appraiser's Office website showing Deborah Grice is the record owner of the property. The next slide shows a copy of the certified return receipt that has been received for this notice of the hearing signed by the owner. You got it, Julie?
What's that?
These are photos of the violation here. We can see the entrance and the walk gates on the side, columns and the walls with lights on the top of those columns. Those are the possible electric. These were taken September 3rd, 2024. The next slide shows photos from December 3rd, 2024 and October 30th, 2024. The next slide is photos from the inspection on June 2nd, 2025, with the entrance and the walk gates, columns that have new lath installed, and the walls. These photos show that the aluminum fence was relocated from the shrubbery back towards the main structure of the house. The second photo shows the distance from the neighboring side of the property, showing that the fence has been installed. I believe that is 3 feet. We'll have Inspector Brent Griffin provide further testimony regarding those exact measurements. The complaint originated from the neighbor explaining that the fence was on his property. These inspection photos were taken as a result to confirm the location of the fence. The next slide is a photo taken during the inspection, June 10th, 2025. See the entrance and the walk gates remain the same. Columns still have the new lath installed and the walls. This is a copy of the permitting system showing the permit history associated with this parcel. We can go back one more. Sorry, Julie. The application highlighted in red for the fence, gates, and walls is application number 24-13537. This was received on September 5th, 2024. It's currently under review and has not yet been issued due to required corrections. A variance will be needed in order to continue with the permit application process. At this time, no variance applications have been received for this parcel. Next slide. This is just a copy of the workflow routing for the permit application itself, showing that the corrections were recently submitted back to the property owner, who's the applicant, on June 11th, 2025. Next slide.
So wait a second.
Okay.
The permit went in 2024, and the county did not provide comments back until just...
No, there were, looks like 4 cycles of review for this particular application. Review number 4 began, looks like, between October 7th, 2024 and restarted June 11th, 2025.
So the comments were provided to the applicant back in October of 2024?
Yes.
And the applicant did not respond until June 11th?
Correct, it looks like the task was rerouted back to the owner. So there was a delay at some point. I'm assuming there were corrections that were required within the permit application itself, and those were not provided until June, which restarted the application and the review process.
Okay, and you can't tell who restarted the process, whether it was the county or the applicant?
The task shows that the plan review corrections were submitted to the applicant on October 7th. It was reassigned back to the applicant June 11th, 2025 by the county. The task was then completed June 11th, 2025 by the applicant, acknowledging that resubmittal is required, and it was routed back to the review coordinator on the county side June 11th as well. So it looks like all of this took place within the same day. There must have, without looking further into the precise notes of what was going on between October and June, there must have been something that was delaying the review process, and whatever that was provided June 11th.
Okay, and the only reason I'm asking is because I wanted to know why this one wasn't expired, but others were expired. Like what, so something was being worked on somehow, I'm assuming?
They automatically void out due to inactivity after 180 days.
Yeah, and this one was 246 days.
I would need to look in the permitting system. This is just a screenshot. There's likely more information from review cycle 3, 2, and 1 that might fill those in. I don't think I have a printout of the entire review cycle.
Okay. It's okay, you can go ahead.
Okay. All right, the next slide, it shows Chapter 40, which is what they're in violation of. The recommendation from the county is based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 25-45 CESM. It is determined that the respondent is the owner of record of the property located at 824 Fern Drive in Longwood in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, and also in possession or control of the property and in violation of the Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. It is further recommended that the special magistrate order the respondent to correct the violations on or before September 11th, 2025. In order to correct the violations, the respondent shall obtain the required permits for the cited violations. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violations continue and are repeated after compliance. The respondent must contact the inspector to verify compliance. The inspector assigned to this case is Brent Griffin.
Okay, and
And
I'm
he can
sorry,
come
go
up and
ahead.
request to enter the permit or the presentation into the record.
Okay, and there is going to be a variance required, though, to keep the fence where it's located?
Correct. Based on the correction comments that were provided to the applicant just recently, confirmed that a variance will be required to continue the plan review process for the permit.
Okay. Mr. Griffin, do you have anything to add?
I don't have anything to add.
Okay, would you like to submit the electronic case file into the record as evidence?
Yes.
Do you have an objection to the electronic case file that's been shown up here and provided to you being submitted into the record as evidence?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. You can go.
Yes, Your Honor. So we did complete a variance back in March of 2025, and it was denied because they stated that they needed a new survey and that she needed to move her fence. So she went ahead and moved the fence and obtained a new survey. I do have a copy of the new survey that she obtained in order to move forward with the variance.
Okay, so so she was told that the fence had to be moved, but the fence couldn't be moved without a permit. But it was,
It looked like it was the fence in the back that she had to move for her survey. So she moved it and then ultimately obtained a new survey. And now that's a survey she just recently obtained. I think she obtained that survey in Tuesday.
okay, so the fence where we were showing where there was measuring tape, was that the back portion of the fence?
That's the right side between her property and so the neighbor's property to the right goes all the way back behind her property. So the fence with the tape measures on the right side of or left side of his driveway, but the right side of her property.
Okay, and so then what I'm looking at shows the prior location of the fence? Is that,
No, this is the new location. She just received that on Tuesday. So she already moved the fence over. So that is showing what it looks like now in order for her to obtain a variance, in order for her to move forward with the permit.
okay, maybe this is just small writing, but the blue outline, I'm assuming, is the lot, but it looks like that there's fence outside of that. Is that not what this is showing? Do you want to take a look at this also?
That's the neighbor's fence.
Okay, okay. So her fence is right on the property line in blue. Her fence is now there.
Yes.
Okay. And so it would need to be re-reviewed at the planning level. You have not submitted this new survey to planning for review, or you have?
Yes, she said. She submitted it on Tuesday when she received the new survey.
Okay, and then, so wait, so yesterday, we have where there was plan review by zoning. And then it comes and says approved? Is it?
That's what they told us. So we didn't get that. We didn't get the new survey. This is been
Completed?
and the last thing that this says that it was approved, but they needed a variance to get through zoning. She's asking them. So are they checking?
Dagmary's going to check for where the E-plan process is right now. this morning, when this PowerPoint was created, the task was still on the applicant side. It's possible that it could have been returned back to the county from when this PowerPoint was created. And now what?
The one workflow, if you'll put that back up, the one after the permit slide.
And then we responded.
If you look at that one, it says, once it went to zoning on the 11th, it says completed, corrections required, but then it says that it went to the building permit for review, or building department for review, and it says approved. And then the next one says review complete. But then the one after that says pending.
Where are we looking?
On here,
At the very bottom,
where it says review complete and then plan review corrections pending.
Pending on the applicant side. So the columns, 1, 2, 3, like 4 over, where it says applicant, that is indicative that the task has been assigned to the applicant. The task is currently pending, meaning the applicant hasn't accepted that task yet or uploaded anything new. However, this screenshot was taken just early this morning.
but then if you go 2 up, it says
The building
building
review was
review
completed. Okay, I
and
understand.
approved.
Building was approved, zoning has not yet been approved.
But aren't we
So
here
there's
for a
multiple-
building permit?
There's multiple levels of departmental review assigned to permits depending on the scope of work. So
Okay.
in this particular scope of work, plan review is required by building division as well as planning. There might be other departments as well on there. Sometimes it's drainage or engineering.
Okay, so just because building has reviewed and they've approved it doesn't mean that the building permit is approved?
Correct. The building portion is approved, not yet the zoning.
Okay. So,
The bottom one is showing it's for all 3 violations for the fence, the wall, and the gates. So we think that's where that's coming in at.
so although the fence may have been moved to the proper place to where a variance is no longer required, the building permit has not been received for the fence, the columns, okay. So you need to apply for the building permits. Well, if the variance is still going to be required, you need to apply for that. And did you go through the entire variance process last time, or just submit an application?
I think she just submitted an application and it was denied.
And that
because of
was
the
kicked
survey.
back?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, so do we have any idea whether she needs a variance or not? Is that, okay. Because if you need a variance, that's going to depend on how much time I give you. If you need a variance, obviously it would be longer.
Did I already get to that point?
No.
The September 11th date was provided based on the fact if she is required to get a variance, that would be the best time to come back to hearing because of the deadline dates
Okay.
from planning.
So then, if you guys are still okay with her having that long, if for some reason she doesn't need the variance, she just needs to get a permit?
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so this is good. It would give you 90 days, and then if for some reason you come into compliance sooner, that's great too. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. So I'll go ahead and order that you bring the property into compliance by obtaining the proper permits, that you are in violation of Seminole County Code Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1, that you need to obtain the proper permits by September 10th, 2025, or a fine in the amount of $100 a day will be imposed. Okay? Thank you. Next case is 2431 CESM. Mark Jones is the attorney, but the respondent is confidential pursuant to Florida statutes, Chapter 119.
Officer Hill, Seminole County Sheriff's Office Code Enforcement East Region. This is case 2431 CESM. The violation charged with Seminole County Land Development Code, Chapter 30, Part 17, Section 30.302, uses permitted in an RM1 zone. This case, which originally heard by the Special Magistrate on June 13th, 2024, and an order was issued giving the respondent a compliance date of December 4th, 2024, with a meeting scheduled for December 12th, 2024. An affidavit of noncompliance was filed by the code enforcement officer after reinspection on December 4th, 2024. On December 12th, 2024, an order was issued extending the compliance date to February 12th, 2025, with a meeting scheduled for February 13th, 2025. An affidavit of noncompliance was filed by the code enforcement officer after reinspection on February 12th, 2025. On February 13th, 2025, an order was issued extending the compliance date to June 11th, 2025, with a meeting scheduled for June 12th. The administrative cost to process this case for the clerk totals $236.90. The administrative cost to process this case for the code enforcement officer totaled $357.85. The administrative cost to process this case to date for both the clerk and the code enforcement officer totals $594.75. At this time, the violation still remains on the subject property, where the boat dock and the garage still remain without a primary structure.
Okay, thank you.
So there was some conversation, I understand, between Mr. Jones, the attorney, and Brent Griffin in regards to what can be done on this property. I wasn't privy to that conversation, so I'm going to allow Brent to speak.
Okay.
I'm Brent Griffin with Seminole County Building. I've stayed in contact with Mark and Mr. Dreggers for the last few weeks. They're in the process of getting the property to the left deeded because they ran into an issue where the building did not meet the LDC requirement of 10 feet. So I've been out there several times with them to go over it and help them through the process. They are getting a new survey for the property, which I think they've already obtained, but it doesn't allow for the structure to be where it's at per the LDC code. So the neighbor to the left of the property is going to deed them the amount of property that they need so they can keep the structure. So that is going to be kind of a long process, I'm assuming, for them to be able to do that.
But keeping the structure, but building a primary structure?
So the structure's going to stay there. They want to build out the inside of it.
It's a conversion.
Oh, to make it a primary structure?
If you want to swear me in, I'll
No,
give you the once
you're an
over.
attorney, you're fine.
All right. If you don't mind. To go back in history, the property owner originally wanted to convert this barn into a single-family residential little mini house.
Okay.
The costs and stuff, it wasn't possible. It was still required to have a primary structure on the property, so we investigated, and he was going through financing to get a small mobile home on the property that would serve as the primary. While he was going through the financing process, he met up with Mr. Griffin and said, this is what I got going on over there, and he was very kind and said, come on up to the county and we'll talk about it and see what we can do. And it's my understanding that it was discussed that, well, you got this setback issue. The neighbor agreed to, and we've got a contract. I just got the survey like 15 minutes ago.
Okay.
He's purchasing the 4-foot that would keep this property in the correct setbacks. And then once this deal is closed, because I was waiting for the survey, so we had a legal description to do the sale. Once the sale is consummated, they're going to be working on submitting a plan to building for a conversion of that into the long time ago desired small house.
Okay. Now, let me ask this. I certainly do not want to throw a wrench into this at all, but
Here it comes.
is there going to mess anything up with an existing plat, or is this old enough to where that it doesn't? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think we're good. I still have to talk to legal and maybe building on combining the lot into
Okay.
one. I
Yeah,
think-
doing a lot joinder or something.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay,
I don't do anything easy, just so you know.
okay. I
So
see that.
They originally submitted plans at one point to do the build-out, and then it got kicked back by the LDC, because I think the left side of that structure was like at 7'6", and it didn't meet the 10 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the variance got kicked back is where all this came from.
Okay, so how long?
I'm going to punt that over to you guys. I mean,
Can I go talk to him over there real quick?
yeah, because we'll have title to the 4-foot strip in the next week.
Can we allow for them to have 90 days?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, if you all think that that will get it done, that's what we're working toward compliance. I think that that's great. Okay, so then September 10th? Okay, with a compliance hearing of September 11th. Okay, thank you.
I'd like to submit the copy of the PowerPoint to electronic evidence.
Is it, I think we've already submitted the same
You're
thing.
good.
Did you have new,
Yeah,
the new photos?
Yeah, that's from yesterday.
Absolutely, I'll accept the new photos if you have no objection, Mr. Jones, from the new photos being submitted.
No, I don't think there's any objection.
Okay, accepted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next case, 2476 CESM, Michael Shadoin. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, what was it?
I think it's Shadone.
Shadone.
Shadoin.
I have a bad habit of pronouncing every letter that I see, so.
That's
Compliance hearing, okay.
She's like,
Huh? Oh, yeah. It's a little laggy, huh?
sorry. What was the case number? I'm sorry.
2476 CESM.
Yeah, 2676, I'm sorry.
Oh, I need the agenda. Jeez. So our laptop is a little laggy today.
It's very.
Okay.
All right, Ruth Goldstein, Program Coordinator for the Building Division. Case 24-76 CESM at 1760 Mullet Lake Park Road in Geneva, Seminole County. Violation charged to Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Description of the violation is installation of an addition, pool, and accessory structure without the required permits. On March 13th, 2025, an order was issued giving the respondent a compliant state of June 11th, 2025, with a meeting scheduled for June 12th, 2025. The administrative cost to process this case for the clerk totals $89.49. The administrative cost to process this case for the inspector totals $676.77. The total cost for the clerk and the inspector is $766.26. The recommendation is that the special magistrate issue an order constituting a lien retroactively to June 11th, 2025 at $100 per day and continues to accrue until in compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Okay, can I have some testimony regarding the violation and where it stands?
I'm Brian Griffin, Seminole County Building Inspector. So the pool deck, fence, and pole barn are still in the review process from 6/3/2025. And there's correction comments submitted to the applicant on 6/6/25.
Okay, so the applicant was supposed to come into compliance by 6/11, but they didn't even get comments back from the county until 6/5, 6/6? 6/3?
It depends which one.
Multiple comments?
Yeah, there's multiple comments.
Okay.
Yeah.
Depends on which permit application we're talking about, but it looks like there was at least 2 review cycles for each permit application. Corrections were submitted to the applicant on 6/5, as Brent testified, for both of these applications.
And the applicant, it seems, is responding?
Yeah, I met with him on the job site yesterday as well, and he told me that he was getting everything done that he could try to get done right now. I think he was waiting on... something. I talked to him yesterday. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to look through this to make sure.
Which permit?
And here you can see what was going on. So these are all resolved, and when they were resolved, 6/4. So these were going through drainage, zoning, flood. You had
So it looks like you're waiting on a question related to electrical. And is that to which structure? The pool or the accessory structure?
The one at the bottom.
6621 is for the pole barn. Yes, the electrical comment, it looks like the info-only section that's not in red, it originated from Tony Coleman in our building division. I think they needed further clarification if electrical was included on the pole barn or not. But that was submitted as of 6/6, it looks like. There were other comments from other departments, such as drainage, zoning. It went through electrical as well, so there were multiple review cycles for this particular application.
And so it looks like there are responses being received, but the applicant's just going back and forth with the county to get the building permit issued? Or permits issued?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have any idea how long it will take for a building permit to get issued? Are the things that are unresolved, what is the length of time that we think it might take?
Maybe 60 days, that's what we recommended.
We were recommending for it to be 60 days.
Okay. Mr. Jones, do you have any objection to 60 days?
No, well, I just want to clarify, I'm here on a very limited representation. I just met the guy about an hour ago by telephone. And
Okay.
he just wanted me to make sure that staff has done a fine job. He's been receptive, he's been working with him, he says he can get it done. I think 60 days is reasonable.
Okay. Then I will go ahead and continue to August 13th with a compliance hearing date of August 14th. August 13th compliance, or come into compliance August 14th, the hearing. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Look at that at the ready.
Okay, the next case is 2539 CESM, Stephen and Maribeth Artis.
Yes.
Sorry.
Oh, it's, thanks.
Can I go ahead and swear you in, sir? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. And if you'll state your name, please?
Stephen D. Leonardis.
Thank you.
Ruth Goldstein, Program Coordinator, Building Division, Case 25-39 CESM for Stephen and Mary Beth De Leonardis at 1345 Palomino Way in Oviedo. This is owned by, the violation charged is Seminole County, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. The description of the violation is installation of multiple structures to include one shed, accessibility ramp to manufactured home, pump house, and guest house converted from a barn/detached garage without the required permits. The case summary is as follows. The initial inspection was conducted May 30th, 2024. The notice to respondent was mailed to the property owner May 30th, 2024. The compliance dates and extensions are shown on the screen, as well as the follow-up inspections for on-site visits and computer re-inspections. The results of those re-inspections are that the violation remains on the property. The screenshot from the property appraiser's website shows that Stephen and Mary Beth De Leonardis are the record owners of the property. This photograph shows a copy of the notice of hearing for this hearing, which was posted on the property by the inspector May 29th, 2025. These are photos of the unpermitted structures. These were taken during the inspection May 30th, 2024. The photo on the far left, the small shed structure is the pump house. The structure in the back is the converted detached garage. The middle photo is difficult to see, but that is the mobile home where the accessibility ramp has been installed. And the photo on the far left with the larger structure with an angled roof is the shed type structure that was cited. Next photo shows a copy of the returned mail, which was returned back to the county that was originally mailed July 24th, 2024. We personally handed this to the property owner on August 30th, 2024. An affidavit of personal service was signed by the inspector September 3rd, 2024. This is a slide that shows photos of the unpermitted structures taken during the inspection on October 24th, 2024. And a copy of the final letter, which was originally mailed September 4th, 2024. This was posted on the property due to the mail being returned to the county. More photos of the unpermitted structures taken on May 30th, 2024. Are we going the wrong way?
Oh. Sleeping at the house.
I'm going backwards. Here we go. There we go. That's fine. This is yeah, you're good. This is the posting of the final letter due to the return mail. And here we've got a photo of the permit applications that have been submitted and issued for this particular parcel. The permit application highlighted in red that says barn conversion is application number 25-4573. It's currently in plan check status, which means the application is in plan review. It has not yet been issued as a permit due to required corrections from multiple departments. No other applications are currently submitted to address the other violations that have been cited. The next slide is going to show the workflow for that previously mentioned permit application 25-4573. This shows that the plan review has not yet been completed due to the required corrections, and these were submitted on April 9th, 2025. This is a more detailed and very tiny print screenshot of the tasks that have been through the, this is the first plan review cycle. Again, the section highlighted in red just shows that the plan review corrections task has been submitted to the applicant as of April 9th, 2025. The task is showing as pending as it has not yet been accepted by the applicant. This is a copy of Chapter 40 in which they are in violation of. And the recommendation is based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 25-39 CESM. It is determined that the respondents are the owners of record of the property located at 1345 Palomino Way, Oviedo, in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records. They're in possession or control of the property and in violation of the Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. It is further recommended that the special magistrate order the respondents correct the violations on or before August 13th, 2025. In order to correct these violations, the respondent shall obtain the required permits for the cited violations. If the respondents do not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violations continue or are repeated after compliance. The respondent must contact the inspector to verify compliance, and the inspector assigned to this case is Brent Griffin.
Okay. I have a couple of questions. On the permit status sheet, what does DN stand for?
That's done.
Okay. And then we have here, or you provided testimony that there is an accessibility ramp to a manufactured home. The home itself does not look like a manufactured home to me. Is there a manufactured home too? And it's permitted to be on the site also?
So there was a permit originally pulled for that manufactured home to be there for a temporary use, and it's still on the property.
So has its permitted use expired? I'm trying to determine whether they could even get a permit for the accessibility ramp to the manufactured home if they can't have it on there.
Might be a planning question. Yeah.
I want to look for that, but I think with the ramp that we could probably reopen the manufactured home up at that time.
But
if that's
if the manufactured home is only
allowed to be there.
right, if it's only allowed to be there temporarily and it's not allowed to be there anymore, then they couldn't get a permit. It is allowed permanently.
It says P, this is A, is 5, right? The zoning on the property?
Is that something for 85?
The zoning is, it's D1. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry.
I don't have that in front of me.
It's not on here, no. I thought it was at one point.
Zoning's A1.
A1. A1.
A1.
Sir, is the mobile home in use?
Yes, and we have a permit
Yeah.
that we applied, and they said we can apply for another one, but I'm in the middle of trying to get a variance to get it attached to the house. So the permit is in compliance now, it's just the ramp that leads to the permit, and somebody mentioned that there should be no reason why we can't keep the ramp until the mobile home is finalized, but that's not my,
Okay.
so.
So I just need clarification, Dagmar Segarra. The mobile home, you have a limited permit use.
Correct.
Are you building a single family currently on the property?
No,
Or
we're
you
go-
intend to keep the mobile home as the primary?
No, it's not the primary. We want to keep the mobile home, so we're going to build, where the house is, maybe it's 500 feet to the mobile home. We want to build an attachment thing, because they said you can't build a detached apartment, but you can, if you attach it to your house, you can build as big as you want. So we want to get a variance to attach it to the house. And they're saying that they're going to, we applied that yesterday.
Okay.
From the corner of the house all the way across 500 feet to attach the mobile home to it, like a breezeway.
That's pretty far away, 500 feet. I'm
Well,
trying
it's
to,
maybe a little bit less. It could be a little bit less, but even so, we want to build a pool house and then a garage and then attach it.
and is someone living in it right now?
Yes, yes. That's why they gave us the permit to be able to stay there.
Even if they attach the mobile home to the principal structure, it's not allowed. The mobile home is not allowed. It's only allowed through a limited permit use, which is until, a single family is being constructed or there's some major repairs.
Right.
So even if you attach the mobile home to the house, the mobile home is still not allowed.
Because the
for
zoning
permitting.
district does not
Does
allow
not
for
allow
mobile
it.
homes.
Correct.
But they gave me a permit to allow for a special, for
They
that
give-
to possibly happen.
No, they gave you a permit for a limited structure for a specific reason, either because you were doing some sort of repairs to your principal structure, or you were building a house, or something was under construction. But it's a limited permit that only allows the structure for that amount of time.
Correct. And then subsequently,
And
we
it
came
expires in
in.
August.
But then I came in and explained that I went upstairs, downstairs, I went 3 times, and they said, if you fill out this permit, you can go to a hearing that could allow you to add on to your house and to do it. So that was a year ago.
And no, that provision is not in the land development code as a special exception or a variance to allow a mobile home in an A1 permanently.
Okay.
Do we have any record of what he's saying he applied for?
And just so you know, yesterday, when we came in to do this, okay.
1 second. Let me go ahead and swear you in. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay.
Hillary Payton, Planning and Development. It looks like in August of 2024, we issued a limited use permit for a mobile home for a hardship. So, and it expires in August. A mobile home would not be allowed to be permitted to remain on the property permanently outside of this limited use permit.
Okay.
So what we were going to do is we were going to make it permanent. That's what we were going to make it, so take it off its, whatever it's attached to, and put a foundation. And that's what we applied for. That's when I came in and asked, and that's what they said, fill this permit out, and you can come in, and you can, it has to go to every department, and they have to make their notifications, but it is possible. They didn't shut me down.
If they make it a permanent structure affixed to a foundation, like a modular home, for example, it could potentially become like an accessory dwelling unit. But an accessory dwelling unit would be limited in size based on the size of the home. Or if he attached it to his home, we don't regulate how many bedrooms, bathrooms, living rooms, but it would not be allowed to have a kitchen. I don't know
Exactly. That's
about
exactly
a
where we're at.
500-foot breezeway, though.
Yeah, that's how far does the attachment go? And what does attachment mean? Does it have to fully?
It has to be attached at the roof line.
Right, and that's what we have plans for. We have plans to do that, and we submitted them, and they...
So you'd have a breezeway that?
We have a
roof on roof to roof on roof?
Correct,
Okay,
which to a builder said it was doable.
okay.
That's possible, yeah.
So then the ramp from the manufactured home, it's not affixed to the ground yet?
The
The ma-
ramp is there.
No, I'm sorry, the manufactured home is not affixed to the ground yet?
No, because we don't know, we have to go through the process to see if it's even doable. If it's not doable, then we wouldn't go through that expense.
Okay,
I personally had no access to the property, so every time I go there, the gate's closed.
which explains not a lot of
And I-
pictures of the, okay. Okay, so let me first do this, because I started asking questions before I did this. Do you want to submit the electronic case file into the record?
Yes.
Do you have any objection to the electronic case file being submitted? Okay, I will accept it into the record. In order for him to accomplish all of the things that he has described here today, and get through the county's process, how long do we think that would take in order for you to then be able to issue a permit? And that's just for the ramp for the manufactured home. But what about all of these other structures that have been converted and,
Well, we were chipping away at all the violations until when we came in for that, what we were just talking about, there was a clerical that they didn't have my correct email. So we weren't getting any of these requests for the past, since that last one was submitted, we weren't getting in, and we came in yesterday to put in for 2 more, because there's only 3 left. I had 9 originally, or 10, and we've taken care of 7 of the buildings. So we were kind of chipping away until I came in and asked for that special exemption, and then I went and we requested everything to be done online, because we had a contractor, and then we got rid of the contractor, and then I was doing everything online, but when I came in, for some reason, it was the wrong email. So we weren't getting any of the questions that we needed to be answered. So I thought no news was good news.
so were there questions that were submitted after April to him? Because this shows a long list of things that were done on like April 7th, April 9th, March 31st, when it originally was submitted. So that looks to me like they were maybe working with a contractor, and then after April,
When I submitted for the guest house, I submitted for the permit, and then there was electrical questions, but again, we weren't getting any of those emails because they had when yesterday they said there was a clerical error, and they wrote down the wrong email.
Well, things were being done.
Up until that.
So he's not
Up until
wrong.
that.
There was a typo in the email address when it was entered into our E-Plan program, where all of the permit applications are electronically processed. E-Plan automatically sends those emails to the email address in that field. There was a typo, so some of the E-Plan alerts alerting him to the fact that there were corrections to be addressed were not getting to him until one of our permit techs caught it and then emailed him directly, I believe. And then he started with the rest of the comments. But yes, there are comments from electrical, plumbing, as he said, and mechanical.
And so then all of these emails that went back in April did not go to him. But now we've found the problem. And
It has
he's-
been fixed.
Okay. Okay, so how long do we think this might all take?
So there's several things in order to make happen what he wants to do. If he's going to make the mobile home a permanent structure and fix it to the ground and convert it into a modular structure, it's allowed in the zoning. Now, if it's going to attach it, if you're going to attach it as an accessory dwelling unit, that means that you have to comply with the specific parameters of an accessory dwelling unit, which it has to do with a size, which the mobile home right now exceed that size. If you're going to keep it as an extension of the house, you will have to remove the kitchen in order for then it becomes an extension of the house and you just add in bedrooms and through the breezeway. We don't have, in zoning, we don't have any parameters of how long that breezeway is. I don't know if the building department might have restrictions to that. That process, it all depends with if he doesn't need a special exception or anything like that, right? It all depends on the permitting, how quickly he submits and if he complies with the building department and the zoning regulations. It can be from 3 to 6 months.
Okay. Thank you. So does the county have a preference? Are we looking at October to maybe make sure that things are moving along? I'd hate to give 6 months and us wait up until, be knocking on December's door before we do anything. So I'm being told anywhere from 3 to 6 months, so I'm going to go 4. And I think that I want to see some progress, though, and I want you to continue to maintain your communication. I understand that there was a typo, so I appreciate that that was found. And if you'll just maintain the communication with the county, maybe we can get this done by October.
Okay.
And if you can get it done sooner, that's even better. So October 8th would be your compliance date. And then if not, $150 a day would be the fine that would be imposed. And you will have a compliance hearing on October 9th.
Okay.
Okay?
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
That was a confuser.
It was. My brain hurts.
Just permit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're halfway through it, and everything's great.
Okay, the next case is 2426 CESM, Los Campos de America LLC.
Should be under.
Anyone who will provide testimony, if you'll please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Can you state your names for the record, please?
Robert Harnus.
William Romero.
Thank you.
Ruth Goldstein, Program Coordinator, Building Division. Case 24-26 CESM for Los Campos de America LLC. It's a property located at 345 Jones Avenue, Sanford, which is owned by Los Campos de America LLC. The violation charged is for Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. The description of the violation is installation of new siding, framing, windows, and door without the required permit. On February 13th, 2025, an order was issued giving the respondent a compliance date of June 11th, 2025, with a meeting scheduled for June 12th, 2025. The administrative cost to process this case for the clerk totals $236.90. The administrative cost to process this case for the inspector totals $728.41. And the total to process this case for both the clerk and the inspector is $965.31. The recommendation is that the special magistrate issue an order constituting a lien retroactively to June 11th, 2025 at $250 per day and continue to accrue until in compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Can you please provide some testimony related to the compliance status of the violation?
It's in PC status, has corrections, and he needs to contact the planning manager can come and speak regarding the special exception.
So there was correction submitted on 7/10/24 that he needs to speak to the planning manager or planner about.
So almost a year ago? There's been, no, because we've been,
The application was initially submitted in 2023, and they were most recently sent corrections right back in July 10th, 2024. We haven't seen any movement since then. We do have notes regarding a special exception project that was received in August. And we would need the planning manager or the planager assigned to that special exception project to provide any testimony, if any updates have been provided. To our notes, we don't have any updates at all.
but we've been back here since July 3 times. Wait, 2 times.
The plan review correction task was submitted to the applicant July 10th, and it was accepted August 7th, 2024. And nothing has been uploaded or provided to the county since then.
But then when we were back here on August 8th, and there was a continuance till July 12th, then we were back here again on July 13th, and then there was the continuance to today. So there had to be something that was happening.
There was a pre-application submitted to planning July 24th, 2024, letting him know that the proposed use is not permitted in that district and that a special exception would be required. The county received a special exception request on August 13th, 2024.
Okay. And that, we had a hearing on August 8th, 2024, that continued it to February 12th, 2025. And then nothing happened between February 20, we came back on February 13th, 2025, and they were given until yesterday. So there was nothing that happened between August and February. I'm not sure why we would have given the February continuance to June if there wasn't something going on.
Hillary Payton can attest for the planning updates.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Hillary Payton, Planning and Development. On this one, you continued it to allow them to go through the special exception process. The special exception process basically came to a halt. I asked them to conduct a community meeting so that we could move forward with scheduling the public hearings. I've emailed them on several occasions to receive those documents that I needed, and I have not received any response.
Okay, and what was the last time that you emailed them?
April 28th.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, going back to the very beginning, when Mr. Ramirez purchased the parcel, he had a business and a residence. When he applied for the very original roof permit for the little house, it was approved as a residence. Then after that, when he applied for the other permits, they were not approved because it's no longer a residence. It's a business now. That's when we had to apply for the special exception with Ms. Payton. Now, she requested for us to do a community meeting, which we did back in February 24, 2025. We had to do the flyers mailer to 45 recipients. We did that meeting and nobody came to the meeting.
Okay,
That was
and
back in February.
do we have information of that? But she's contacted you in April, so
Yeah,
that was after the February meeting.
We had to leave there because of the new rules. There's no traffic, there's no business whatsoever. Well, we have not been there lately.
Okay,
And we thought we were going to receive a letter, in the mail, a certified letter, a registered letter, whether the special permit was approved or not.
No, as I've explained to you, I'm sorry.
no, yeah, go
Okay.
ahead.
As I explained to you multiple times before, you have to have the community meeting, you had to give me the documents, and then I would schedule it for the 2 public hearings that you would have to attend. So you wouldn't receive anything in the mail just saying it's approved or not, you have to attend those public hearings. But in order to schedule that, I needed the documents from you, from the community meeting documenting, and even if nobody attended, I needed like a sign-in sheet and with a note on it that says nobody attended. But I emailed you 4 times and I haven't heard anything back.
To which email address was that?
The one that you responded to, and you said, "I'll get it to you on Monday," and I never heard anything back.
I did send it to you because you replied to me that it was okay for the date and you approved this to me.
Yes, that was prior to. But then March 4th, March 6th, April 4th, April 28th, I emailed you asking for the documents. You responded to one of those emails and you said, "I'll get it to you on Monday," and then I didn't hear anything back.
I have no access to that email anymore, only to the Word tile or my personal email.
But it's your responsibility to keep your email updated with the county. It's not their responsibility to reach out to you to find out what your email address is.
But they were sending copies to my personal email and Mr. Ramirez's email at Word tile.
I mean, you were at one time communicating with her on
Right.
the email that she sent it to.
Until the last time that I requested this mailer because we have not received the mailing list, so I sent an email to her and the other lady replied back to me with the mailing list.
And was it to this email address that she's communicating
Right,
with you on?
yes, Yes.
Okay, so you did at one time communicate with them on this email address. So she would have no reason to understand that you had changed your email address.
I didn't change it. It was just locked and I couldn't access it back.
Okay. But you are the one who keeps the email or doesn't keep the email. That has nothing to do with the county. If that email existed at one time and it was one that you were
Yes, it
using to
exists.
communicate with, they would have no way to know that you weren't using it anymore.
Someone changed it to Los Campos de America LLC at gmail.com and I have no access to that. I
Okay.
don't know who did.
Well, I don't think they would have made it up because they wouldn't know to. So, and then now that you're telling me that, well, the business isn't really working for you there, and so you've moved to a different location.
No, we did not move. We just not able to conduct any business because of the new rules. That's all.
Okay, but that doesn't change the fact that there have been changes to this structure without the proper permits. And you have not continued the process, and it sounds to me like you haven't continued the process because conducting the business there has gotten too stringent for you. And so it's a problem for me that you have decided that you just ignore the rules because something didn't work out for you financially.
Well, I did not ignore the rules because I have all the paperwork of all the requirements that we completed.
But you didn't follow through with it. You thought it was just going to happen and you were going to receive something. And that's not the way that it works. And the responsibility is on you to make sure that you keep up with this. And I have given sufficient time for you to come into compliance, and you have failed to continue to communicate with the county. So I'm going to go ahead. I find sufficient evidence to ratify my prior order of February 13th, 2025, which had you come into compliance as of yesterday. I'm going to find that you are not in compliance, and I'm going to impose the fine of $250 a day starting June 11th, 2025, which was the date of, well, it will actually start today as of June 12th because you were not in compliance on June 11th. And I'm going to find that there are administrative costs for the clerk in the amount of $236.90. There are administrative costs for the inspector totaling $728.41 for a total of administrative costs in the amount of $965.31. I'm going to find that you pay that amount in 30 days, or that too will be imposed as a lien against your property, and that the county can record this order, my order, as a lien against the property. Thank you.
So what do I have to do right now to comply with it?
You need to go see the county, to the building department, and they can help you with that.
I'll just go second floor, just tell them that. Thank you. We have more, but I think we don't have any planning stuff. Dag left, that we probably don't.
I got Anna Dolphinette does.
Oh, for Vegas.
Oh.
She's not anything.
Freedom Trail.
Oh, Freedom Trail. Where's Dag?
He picked up the
She's fine. Hillary can stay.
There's two, well, was there, where's the global street? I know, but remember, it's on like two addresses, so I'm wondering if they got defense permit under the other. Yeah.
Okay, the next case is 2537 CESM Revamp Capital LLC.
2567?
37.
2537.
Are they not here?
I guess not.
Not
They're not here? Okay. Ruth Goldstein, Program Coordinator for the Building Division. Case 25-37 CESM for Revamp Capital LLC, located at 495 Howard Avenue in Longwood, Seminole County, Florida. The violation charged is Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. The description of the violation is installation of a fence without the required permit. The case summary is as follows. The initial inspection was conducted July 3rd, 2024. The notice to the respondent was submitted, mailed to the record property address July 5th, 2024. The compliance dates and the extensions provided are shown on the screen, as well as the follow-up inspections for both on-site inspections as well as computer re-inspections. The results are that the violation remains on the property. This is a screenshot from the Seminole County Property Appraiser's website showing that Revamp Capital LLC is the record property owner. And here we have copies of the certified return receipts for the notice of hearing, which was sent to Revamp Capital LLC, as well as Nelson N. Fulcini for the registered agent. Both were received signed. This is a photo of the unpermitted fence taken during the inspection on July 3rd, 2024. And the next slide shows a copy of the final letter that was originally mailed to the respondent on August 28th, 2024. The mail was returned, so we posted a copy of the letter on the front door. There's another copy of the unpermitted fence taken October 3rd, 2024. And more photos of the fence taken from the inspection on June 9th, 2025. And this screen shows the permit history for this parcel. It shows that no permit applications have been received or issued to correct the violation. The issued permit shown on the screen, application 24-13203, has been issued, but it is for work unrelated to the fencing installed on the property. This is a copy of Chapter 40, in which they are in violation. The recommendation is based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 25-37 CESM. It is determined that the respondents are the record owners of the property located at 495 Howard Avenue, Longwood in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession or control of the property, and in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. It is further recommended that the special magistrate order the respondents to correct the violation on or before August 13th, 2025. In order to correct the violation, the respondent shall obtain the required permit for the cited violation. If the respondents do not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. The respondents must contact the inspector to verify compliance, and the inspector assigned to this case is Brent Griffin.
Brent Griffin, Seminole County Building Inspector, can you please present this into evidence?
I'm going to accept the electronic case file into the record. I'm going to find that the property owner, Revamp Capital LLC, has been properly noticed to be here today. I'm going to find that the property is in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1, for failure to obtain a permit for the installation of a fence on the property. I'm going to order that the property be brought into compliance by July 9th, 2025, or a fine in the amount of $250 a day will be imposed. Okay. Okay, I'm going to call 2474 CESM John Pierre.
Oh, okay.
Anyone providing testimony, I need you to raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Can you please state your names for the record?
John Rauch, R-A-U-C-H. Jean-Pierre.
Okay.
Ruth Goldstein, Program Coordinator for the Building Division. Case 24-74 CESM for property owner Jean E. Pierre at 666 Encino Way in Altamont Springs, Seminole County. The violation charged is Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1, and the description of the violation is installation of black wrought iron fence with 2 gates and a slab with electric and plumbing without the required permits. Next slide. Oh, you got it. On May 8th, 2025, an order was issued giving the respondent a compliance date of June 11th, 2025, with a meeting scheduled for June 12th, 2025. The administrative cost to process this case for the clerk totals $157.74. The administrative cost to process this case for the inspector is $609.82, for a total of $767.56. The recommendation is that the special magistrate issue an order constituting a lien retroactively to June 11th, 2025 at $50 per day and continues to accrue until in compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Okay, and can I have some testimony related to the status of the violation, please?
This is almost issued.
5/20/25.
You can just read that.
Read the whole thing.
Yeah, you can read it.
This screen shows 2 permit applications were received on 5/20/25. In relation to this code violation, permit application 257653 is for the fence, and 257650 is an application to demolish the electrical and plumbing. These applications have not yet been issued due to the required corrections, which will be discussed on the next slides. This screen shows the plan review workflow for fence permit application 257653. Corrections from zoning were submitted to the applicant on 6/5/25.
Okay, so it looks like he's been working toward compliance.
I spoke to them on the phone personally to try to help them out. So from my understanding, they're working towards it. They're going through and getting a demo permit to remove the stub outs. And then I spoke to them about chipping the concrete up around the exterior of the house because of termite. They originally told me they were thinking about ripping all the concrete out, and I explained to them to not rip the concrete out just because of the cost. So I helped them out with showing them with the termite code, making sure they were at least 16 inches cut back, which I did go by yesterday or the day before, and I saw that they started working on that. So they're trying to do what they can to get in compliance.
Okay, so how long do we think it'll take?
The fence corrections shown on the screen indicate that a variance is going to be required. So they're going to need at least 90 days. Unless they apply for a variance tomorrow, then this hearing could be scheduled for August. But if they don't get a variance application in and paid for by tomorrow, they would need at least till September 11th.
Okay,
They
so-
did get a demolition permit. The last update was early this morning, and I believe the demo permit is currently in the process of being issued. It just is awaiting payment, or maybe some administrative documents, but the review has been completed. That portion of the violation will be considered in compliance when the final inspection for that permit is completed. So he's well on the way of
And that's
obtaining
related to the
compliance.
electrical and plumbing?
That's correct, yes.
Okay.
That's to demolish that. Now, once it's actually removed, it would be considered in compliance. The fence is going to take a little longer if a variance is required.
Okay, and it's saying that a variance is required?
Correct.
For it to be there? Okay. So, do you understand what that means? That there's a variance necessary for the fence to remain?
Yes, ma'am, and I was under the understanding that the variance application had been filed, but apparently not. I apologize.
No, that's okay.
I'm here today because we have a volunteer project with our church to help him out on this item, and our lead person on it is out of the country right now. He won't be back until this Sunday.
Okay.
And then he will be on the job. I was just communicating with him just a moment ago, and he said that anything that needs to be done, they'll get on it first thing on that, but that he was waiting for the approvals for the demolition. I think they started the cutting of the stuff, and they sampled the concrete to make sure it was proper strength and everything. And then they were waiting to find out what the next stage was so they could be in proper compliance. And as far as I know, they're ready to do the demolition on the electrical and the plumbing stuff. I did speak to him about that. He says he has the crews all ready to go and get that accomplished as soon as he gets back. And other than that, if we need a variance application completed, I'm sure that Mr. Payton will get that accomplished immediately when he gets back. That's just the kind of person he is. And
Okay.
he's part of our volunteer group.
Okay.
Yeah, so you will need to get the variance application done, and then for the demo permit, the only thing that you're waiting on is payment. So once that's done, then you'll receive your permit
Okay.
for it.
Excellent.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, since you have someone who's out of town that's trying to help, that's traditionally been helping with this, I'm going to extend your compliance date to October 8th. So that should give you plenty of time to get the application, to get the variance, to get everything you need in order to get the necessary permits so that the fence
I'm
can
just
remain.
unfamiliar with the timeline is for the variance on the fence, but I know that that's ready to go. And I guess it hasn't been filed at this point in time, but we will get on it immediately.
And the only thing I would ask is just remaining in constant contact with the county
Absolutely.
is what will, because as long as they've been communicated with and they know what's going on with your circumstance, then they are absolutely going to help through the process. Everybody's on the mindset of getting compliance. So, okay, so then I will go ahead and continue the compliance date till October 8th with a compliance hearing of October 9th.
Your Honor, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next case is 2460 CESM. Annabelle Fernandez.
No, I know. I'm like, I don't know where she went.
She's a compliance, right? Yeah, she's a compliance.
Is it Freedom?
Is it second?
Okay. Thank you.
Ruth Goldstein, Program Coordinator, Building Division. Case 24-60 CESM, Annabelle Fernandez, the property 1982 Longwood Lake Mary Road in Longwood, Florida, 32750. The violation charged is Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. The description of the violation is installation of a wood fence without the required permit. On March 13th, 2025, an order was issued extending the compliance date to May 7th, 2025, with a meeting scheduled for May 8th, 2025. On March 26th, 2025, this case was continued to June 12th, 2025, per the inspector. The administrative cost to process this case for the clerk totals $247.23. The administrative cost to process this case for the inspector totals $741.80. The administrative cost to process this case for both the clerk and the inspector totals $989.03. The recommendation is that the special magistrate issue an order constituting a lien retroactively to May 7th, 2025 at $150 per day and continues to accrue until in compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Okay, can I get some, first of all, testimony related to, it was continued to June 12th, so today's hearing, but the compliance date was to remain May 7th. Can you refresh my recollection on that?
She needed a continuance to obtain the approved variance, which she did get. Unfortunately, the fence permit application that she had submitted voided out due to inactivity because of the variance. Once she got the variance, it was sent to her with the instruction to reapply for a new fence permit because that one had expired, and that has not happened. We haven't heard anything since.
And was it sent to her by email that she had been communicated with previously, or mail, or how?
I'm not sure how planning disseminates the approvals. I believe they have to be present for it. It's either handed out at the meeting or...
No, not the approval, telling her that the fence permit needed to be reapplied for.
I believe I personally emailed her a couple of times.
Can you check to see?
Yes, 1 second. No, it did. June 9th, 2025, I emailed her, and I know I emailed her before that, too.
When was the variance approved?
April 28th, 2025.
And so why was the May 8th hearing continued?
She just needed to get a permit, right?
Let's see.
I think she just needed to get a permit. Because that permit expired, right?
We've got a note in our system that says there was a miscommunication between staff, March 6, 2025, and she actually required 2 variances, so she was delayed getting on the agenda for the variance approval.
So
The
does she
variance
have
was
this-
continued March 28th due to the family having a family emergency. Case 24-60 CESM for what we're here today was continued to June 12th via the consent agenda based on the family emergency and the miscommunication regarding the variance application.
Okay, and then did she receive the second variance?
She got her variance approved. It's all done, it's good to go. And she was in touch with the planner assigned to that as well.
And I'm fine with the planner, but the fact that how she found out and when, you've told me that one time you emailed her on June 9th. And her compliance, or her time to be back here was June 12th. But if we would have continued, her compliance date was then continued. It doesn't revert back. The order would have given her till June 11th. Can you verify that for me, Alexis? The last amended order that we would have done from the consent agenda on May 8th, was that order, it gave her till June 11th, I'm assuming, with a date to be here June 12th. But then she was emailed June 9th. Was she emailed before June 9th?
I was emailing her in 2024 in October. for sure. I've got a copy of that.
Well, you wouldn't have emailed her that she was in compliance in
No.
2024,
No, it
though.
was just regarding the continuance.
No, I need to know,
I emailed her before.
in 2025, after she got her variance in April, did someone tell her that her permit was expired and she needed to come back in?
In the E-plan notes.
I have no idea. I don't have the E-plan notes. I mean, I would assume that the planner told her that, because that
I
was.
can't
know.
take testimony that you
Right.
assume.
Yeah, I would need someone from planning to testify for that.
But would planning know that her building permit had expired?
The planner was aware, yes.
And it's planning's responsibility to then let,
Well, once the permit application expires, it's contingent upon the owner to resubmit. The building division does notify the applicants when the application expires. It automatically expires after 180 days of inactivity, and then a message is sent to the applicant email address assigned to that application.
do you have evidence that an email was sent to this lady telling her that her permit application for her building permit had been expired?
But it says something about May 13th, 2025. Please keep a copy of this letter for your records.
I do not have direct evidence of that. Now, on the variance approval letter, there is a mention that says, therefore, a building permit incorporating the same cannot be issued prior to May 13th, 2025. Please keep a copy of this letter for your records and submit a copy with your permit application. So that May 13th, 2025 date is the mandatory appeal period that is applied to approved variances. As long as there's no appeals that come in after before May 13th, 2025, the variance approval stands, and that letter is to be submitted with the building permit application so that it can pass the zoning review.
Okay, so she, in her mind, though, thought she already had a building permit application in, because she had already applied for a building permit. So that doesn't tell her she has to reapply. I need something telling me that she was told that she had to reapply, and there is, though, a notice of hearing that was sent to her for her to be here today. Is that correct? I'm being told by the clerk that there was a green card received from her for being here today.
Without getting into the electronic plan review system, I don't have any evidence with me right now that proves.
Not this one. I'm talking about the notice of hearing for today.
That-
Not that one. That one wasn't for today, because that was received on April 1st.
This is notice.
That was for the notice of hearing for this
That-
hearing.
Not this hearing, because she wouldn't have even known till after May that this one was being continued.
That's on the clerk.
Where,
It's on the clerk. She said-
The mailing label just says CESM continued NOH 612. That,
but it says it was received April 1st. You all didn't even ask for it to be continued until May.
what?
That's on the clerk.
It went out in March, but then that would have had to be for the May hearing, because it was continued in May, so that wouldn't have been for the June hearing.
This wasn't, I don't think this was previously continued, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, the original compliance date,
April and July.
they were supposed to come into compliance on May 7th.
Oh, I see what you're saying, I see what you're saying. Oh, well,
And then you all just provided testimony saying that they couldn't apply for a building permit till May 13th because of the appeal period. And so that's probably why there was a request to continue to today, because they would have not been able to apply for the building permit till after that hearing last month.
Right.
So,
that would have given her, a month to obtain the building permit.
right. And so
Which was voided
then,
out prior to, so the
So-
notification.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, no, you're good, I don't have proof of it.
So on that variance approval too, on May 19th, above that, where it's highlighted, it says the Seminole County Board of Adjustments approved the following variance, so that's probably, like you said, why from the May 18th to the May 19th, it got extended till today.
right. Now, your notice of hearing that you have, do you have where it was for today's date? So a notice of hearing was sent to her on what date?
March 28th.
For today's hearing? That doesn't make any sense. She couldn't have, because we didn't even continue it until the May hearing.
It was on consent, so it didn't get a renotice. It's on here.
Okay. Okay. She didn't sign for that one. And then in the May 7th hearing, we would have continued it again till the June 12th.
I don't know how she knew that, but she did. That's what was on the screen.
She sent an email or we did? Okay.
We need Megan.
And you sent out the letter regular mail? On March 22nd.
That's what I was looking for, to see what the posting was.
I don't
We
know
didn't
how
post
the
it, no,
case was
because we got a green
continued
card back.
without me. To May 7th, with a meeting on May 8th. So I issued an order on May 7th saying, or May 8th. No, I issued an order on March 13th saying that she needed to be back here May 8th. Then it was continued to June 12th administratively, outside of my order. Okay. So without her receiving an order, I don't feel comfortable. I think we need to give her till next month. And I need you all to get in contact with her and let her know that she has to reapply. Okay, so then I will continue her compliance date. And I completely understand, because we were in the process of trying to work out the whole consent agenda thing and how that was going to work. So I completely understand how this happened. Okay, so then let's give her until July 9th to come into compliance. And if you all will get in contact with her as soon as you can to let her know that she needs to reapply. All of her variants have been approved, but she needs to reapply. Okay.
Thank you.
So it will be a continuance till July 9th with a compliance hearing of July 10th. Okay, next case, 2532 CESM, Erlin Rodriguez Santos and Mandy Reyes Hernandez. She was not here at the prior meeting, right?
Ruth Goldstein, Program Coordinator for the Building Division.
I'm sorry, let me go ahead and swear her in. I apologize. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Case 25-32 CESM is for the property located at 3021 Freedom Trail in Oviedo, which is owned by Erlan J. Rodriguez Santos and Mandy G. Reyes Hernandez. The violation charged is Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. The description of the violation is installation of heat pump on the side of the house and interior and exterior alterations to the pole barn, which include mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, without the required permits. On May 8th, 2025, an order was issued giving the respondent a compliance date of June 11th, 2025, with a meeting scheduled for June 12th, 2025. The administrative cost to process this case for the clerk totals $108.41. The administrative cost to process this case for the inspector totals $609.82, for a total admin cost of $718.23. The recommendation is that the special magistrate issue an order constituting a lien retroactively to June 11th, 2025 at $500 per day and continues to accrue until in compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Okay, can I have some testimony related to the status of the compliance of the violations?
Absolutely. This screen here is showing the permit history for the parcel. There are a number of permit applications that have been issued. Some are in DN or done status, and some are in hold or PC status or plan check. However, the violations for this particular case, there are no permit applications that have been received or issued for those interior-exterior alterations to the pole barn, and no permits applied for the heat pump on the side of the house, of the main structure. I don't have any other updates to you.
Okay.
There's no applications that we have, so there's no workflows or correction items to show.
Okay, thank you. Ma'am?
Oh,
Yep.
what?
Do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, I just want to go ahead and make this right, so whatever I need to do. But, yeah.
But the problem is, you were noticed to be here at the last hearing, and no one showed. And this is the second time that you're before me, because we have another case where you had failed to get permits, and I'm not sure whether that case is complied. But this is a repeat violation, so you had knowledge that you have to have permits and still have not.
If I can add why I've been missing, my name. Erlen and I have two properties, and I live in the Orlando one. He lives in he doesn't live, that's his property. That's how we divided it, because we separated. So we agreed that whatever happens in that property is his, and whatever happens in that is mine. Even though I do receive the mail, I go ahead and give it to him. So I have been seeing the notices, but I don't open them. And now that it's gotten this bad, it's like when he's asking me to go ahead and jump in and help him. So I've been knowing that there's things going on, but since I don't go to that property, I don't have any idea of what's going on, what he's doing. So now I'm helping him getting this fixed.
So this particular property at 3021 Freedom Trail, you don't live on this property?
No.
Okay, so the problem is, though, that you stand to have some serious penalties start to be imposed against the property that you own.
Yeah.
Now, if he's going to be fully responsible for it, that's fine, but it's in your name as well.
Yeah.
So, and the danger of this kind of penalty is it attaches to your home, but also your name.
Yeah.
So this can follow you. So if you have other property in Seminole County, or you go to sell property in Seminole County, this could come up.
Yeah.
And so what was decided at the last hearing is that you needed to come into compliance by yesterday, or a fine of $500 a day would be imposed.
Yeah.
So with him having done nothing, it makes it very difficult for me to give additional time because he's ignoring the order, and he's not even here. He sends you. So I'm not sure what type of communication that you have with him, and it seems to me like pulling these permits would be a very simple thing. 60 days was given, or 30 days was given at the last hearing. I could give 30 more because you did appear and you have told me that it's really not your, and so because you've appeared and you're trying to look out for yourself and your name, I can give 30 additional days, but that's the extent of what I'm willing to give.
Okay.
Because I think that these are easy permits for him to pull. These aren't things that I mean, yeah, he's going to be required to probably show some things that he would have to have from outside professionals, but he needs to do that, and he has shown absolutely no initiative whatsoever.
And I believe there's a lot more. I think there's, I don't know how many, but I think there's a few more that I need to pull, or the list is here.
On
of
the
everything.
other, for the other violations,
Yeah.
yes. But for these are more dangerous because these are $500 a day.
Okay.
The other one was probably $250, it
I
was.
believe liens were imposed for both of
Oh,
those other.
they've been
right.
imposed already. So you've got liens that are already accruing on the others.
And those are, where do I get that information? for
So
the
that would have
liens?
been sent to you, there would have been an order that was sent.
Okay,
And so it would be all laid out in that. But I suggest that he come to the building department and talk to them and find out what
yeah.
all needs to be done.
yeah, I'll go ahead and do that.
And so basically, I'm given the 30 days for that reason.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
So he probably needs to come in tomorrow
Okay,
to the building department, and the other fines are continuing to accrue, so those need to be cleared up as well.
okay.
But this is very serious for you,
Yeah, yeah.
okay?
I understand.
For your name as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll give you till July 9th to come into compliance. You also need to know that there are fines, costs right now that have accrued in the amount of $718.23. I'm going to reserve on those, but each day that continues, those costs go up. And I will impose costs on this case. This is not one of those cases where I'll waive costs because that he's ignored
Yeah.
coming in.
I understand.
So, okay. So it's continued till July 9th with a compliance hearing of July 10th.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, perfect, thank you.
Okay, that is, I believe, all of our cases. I have approved the minutes for May 8th, 2025, and our next meeting will be set for July 10th, 2025. We're adjourned.